just moved to suburban Pennsylvania in my junior year. Being the new kid in an American high school is always a nightmare. You have no place in the cafeteria and every eye is on you like you're some kind of freak. Just as I was about to wolf down my sandwich in the darkest corner, two figures sat down opposite me. They were identical. Slicked back black hair, pale smiles and sunken eyes. They introduced themselves as Lucas and Marcus. "Hey, you look lost. We just moved here last year too. We get that feeling. We're heading to the woods behind the cemetery tonight. Found something cool back there. Want in?" 9 p.m. Blackwood Forest was freezing. I got a text from Lucas. "Go 50 meters deeper. We're near the creek." Lucas? Marcus? Where are you guys? Don't mess with me like that. Suddenly, a hand with sharp nails clamped around my throat from behind. A chilling voice hissed. "Hold him down. Marcus, get the bag out. He's the perfect one." I used every ounce of strength to elbow him in the gut and bolted. I was a track runner, and that was the first time I truly ran for my life. The twins were expelled shortly after because of the bruises on my neck. I thought it was over, but one night I woke up feeling a draft. My bedroom window was wide open. "Dad? Mum? Is anyone there?" I looked through the crack of the door. Someone was standing there. Not one person, two people. They were standing one behind the other, staring at me through the gap with those lifeless eyes. "We know where you live now. You can't escape." I screamed. My dad burst in with a baseball bat, but all he saw was the window swaying in the wind. The police found no fingerprints at all. 5 years have passed. I've moved to a different state, but every time I see a pair of twins on the street, my heart skips a beat. You never know what kind of evil hides behind those identical faces. This happened during my sophomore year of high school, around 2012. I was taking an elective photography class. That Friday afternoon, our regular teacher called in sick, and an older, scrawny man with messy grey hair came in as a substitute. Throughout the period, I kept getting the feeling he was staring at me. Not the way a teacher watches a student, but a growth, lingering gaze. But I just tried to brush it off. To finish my project, I asked to stay in the dark room for an extra 20 minutes after the bell rang. This room was at the end of the art wing hallway, completely isolated from the rest of the school. When I finished developing my last photo and tried to leave, I found the doorknob was completely jammed. "What the hell? Open up!" I panicked and banged on the door. A few seconds later, there was a click from the outside, and the door opened. Standing there was Mr. Vance, wearing a smirk I will never forget. "This door jams all the time. Let me come in and take a look at it." The dark room was incredibly cramped. When he stepped inside, he deliberately pushed the door shut. Under the dim, red safe light, he moved uncomfortably close to me to pretend to check the latch right next to where I was standing. "You were the best student in class today. What perfume are you wearing? It smells sweet." "It's fine. I have to catch my bus right now. Thank you." I squeezed past him, walking quickly out of the dark room and into the empty art classroom outside. Mr. Vance stayed behind in the dark room. As I was frantically shoving my film rolls into my backpack, suddenly, all the lights in the wing cut out. "What the?" "Mr. Rance? Are you there?" No answer, just dead silence. I quickly flipped open my phone to use the screen for a little light. I tiptoed out into the hallway. To get to the stairs, I had to turn left at the intersection ahead. But instinctively, I shined my phone to the right first. Right there, hiding behind the row of metal lockers, was Mr. Vance. Only half of his face was visible in the dark. His eyes were wide open, staring a hole through me, and his mouth was curled into a sinister smile. "Where are you rushing off to? The game is just getting started." I didn't reply. I spun around, sprinted down the emergency stairwell, slammed into the push bars of the exit door, and burst out into the pouring rain in the parking lot. I ran straight home without daring to look back. Looking back on it, I realized he must have locked the dark room door from the outside to create an excuse to get in there with me. The next day, I reported the incident anonymously to the school. But to this day, I still wonder if my phone was dead, or if I hadn't looked down the right side of the hallway, what would have happened to me in that darkness? When I was in high school, I joined the school band just for an easy A. However, towards the end of the semester, I skipped 2 practice sessions. The band director, Mr. Nicholson, told me I had to go down to the basement storage to practice during my lunch period if I didn't want to see. The music wing's basement was a place students always avoided. It was like a maze with a long hallway and dozens of small 7 by 7 feet rooms on either side, used for storing broken chairs, music stands, and instruments no one had touched in decades. I stepped into a room in the middle of the hall, shut the door, and set my saxophone on the stand just in case Mr. Nicholson came down to check. In reality, I pulled out a folding chair, sat down, and started playing games on my phone. About 10 minutes in, the lights just cut out. Not a flicker, but an absolute pitch-black darkness. It was so dark I couldn't even see my own hand held right in front of my face. What the hell? A power outage again? The phone I was using back then was an older iPhone without a flashlight app, so I could only use the screen's brightness to see. I cracked the room door open and stuck my phone out. The weak light only illuminated a few feet ahead. At the end of the hall, another storage door was wide open. I heard the sound of a massive plastic bin being dragged roughly across the floor. But the scariest part wasn't the noise. It was the breathing. It was a wheezing, heavy, ragged panting, like a wild animal exerting all its strength. The figure pushed a massive plastic bin right into the middle of the hallway. That's not the janitor. Who is that? Because the plastic bin and the stranger were blocking the way to the stairs, I didn't dare to run. I immediately turned off my phone screen, fumbled in the dark, and backed away. I decided to creep into the next storage room. I slipped inside and quietly shut the door. I stood as still as a statue in the thick darkness, straining my ears for any sound outside. The dragging of the plastic bin had stopped. The space fell into dead silence. But you know that feeling when you're in a dark room with someone? Even if you can't see them or hear them, you can feel the air shift. You can feel a warm presence radiating very close to you. This room wasn't empty. With violently shaking hands, I raised my phone to my chest. I just intended to press the home button to light up the screen for exactly half a second. The screen light flared, casting harsh shadows on the walls. And less than 3 feet away from me, pressed against the corner, was a grown man. His face was filthy, his eyes wide open and staring dead at me. Shh. The second he made that sound, a rough hand slammed onto my shoulder and squeezed my collarbone hard. I let out a terrifying scream, dropped my phone, and threw my entire body at the doorknob. The man lunged forward, trying to pull the door shut, but I had already ripped it open. I bolted up the stairs like a madman, not daring to look back even once. School security was called, and they searched the entire basement. There was no one down there. Dozens of expensive audio equipment pieces were packed neatly into large plastic bins at the end of the hall, ready to be taken away. But what haunts me to this day isn't the attempted robbery. It's the fact that he was standing less than 3 feet away from me in that pitch black room, staring at me in absolute silence for who knows how long before I lit up that screen. Back in my senior year of high school, my friends Chris, Roland, Brandon and I always loved doing crazy things. One Saturday night, we came up with a genius idea. Sneaking into the school in the middle of the night. Crawling through that window was a struggle, but the thrill of breaking the rules was undeniably exhilarating. Once we squeezed inside, we were met with a dark, suffocating basement. It's boring down here, just dust and trash. Let's go upstairs and see if there's anything cool. I nodded, following closely behind Chris up the stairwell. Pushing open the double doors into the school's main hallway, a chill ran down my spine. Not a single light was on. Man, this place is really creepy. I'm gonna hit the bathroom real quick, just wander around here. I'll be right out. I pushed the door open and stepped into the boys' bathroom. It was pitch black. I had to turn on my phone's flashlight just to find a stool. Suddenly, the phone in my hand violently vibrated. It was Chris calling. I picked up, intending to curse him out for startling me. "Where the hell did you go? We're waiting for you." "Are you crazy? I told you I'm in the first floor bathroom. You and Brandon are right out there in the hallway." "What the hell are you talking about?" "Me, Brandon, and Roland. All 3 of us are in the boiler room in the basement. Nobody went upstairs with you." My heart dropped into my stomach. I stuttered, trying to say the word, "I," but my throat went dry. If all my friends were in the basement, then who walked up to the hallway with me? At that exact moment, from the stool right next to mine, came a laugh. Not the laugh of a teenager. It was a guttural, deep, and raspy chuckle of a grown man. I heard a rustling sound, like he was stepping onto the toilet seat in the next stall. Cold sweat drenched my forehead. 2 filthy hands with long nails gripped the top of the partition. Then slowly, half of a face rose up. "Found you." I screamed, "Holy shit," repeatedly into the phone, kicked my stall door open, and shot out of there like a bullet. "Run! Run now! There's someone up here." I plunged down into the basement in the dark, tearing through the endless corridors. My friends were standing near the window in absolute panic. "What the hell is happening? Climb out, hurry." One by one, we stepped on an old bucket, scrambled through the broken window, and tumbled onto the grass outside. After running a good distance, we stopped to catch our breath. I told them about the man in the bathroom, my voice still shaking violently. In one of the first floor windows, right by the main entrance, there was a silhouette. He stood in the dark, pressing both hands hard against the glass, watching us disappear into the night. We ran for our lives all the way home. We never, ever went near the school at night again.